Happy New Year. Hope everybody enjoyed their holidays. Is there anybody who's joining the community session for your first time today? Cool. I saw William and Yasser raise your hand. If you're comfortable, you want to unmute and introduce yourself?
Hi, so my name is not Yasser, it's the account of my manager. And I'm very advanced because I'm more comfortable in French, but I will try to follow you in English, guys. So my name is Marjorie, and I'm account manager of Odaiba company, and I'm here for the first time today. So
nice. Well, welcome, Marjorie.
Yes.
Is there something about this session that piqued your interest? Something that you wanted to learn?
I will see. No, just I'm here. I will see.
Sounds good. Just wanted to join in on the fun. Well, it's great to see you and welcome.
Thank you.
William.
Hi,
first
I'm
session.
William
How are you?
I'm running the sales department for a solar company, and we're trying to target local people around here, and it's hard to find out how to actually be sure you're being targeting local people, online.
Yeah. So whenever you say around here, looks like you're on the beach.
Yeah.
Where are you calling in from?
I wish. I just use that because my background's not that nice. Yeah, I mean, my Delaware Valley area. Yeah. I don't know if you're familiar with South Jersey, Delaware Valley.
Personally, I'm not, but that's good to know. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we want to sell jobs. My installer actually is the person who installs them. So, and he doesn't have a sales team. He basically gets all his jobs from the big corporations, and he doesn't want to be dependent on them. So I want to be the guy that makes him not dependent on them anymore.
Gotcha.
Hey, Bill, this is Rob Davis. I'm actually in South Jersey as well. I'm in Washington Township.
Oh, cool.
All right, so we're practically neighbors.
Yeah, absolutely.
Robert, you might have some ideas for William to how he could, help the solar company show up locally.
Oh yeah, without question, absolutely. Even though it's not my first meeting, it's my first meeting as saying there, it's official. We launched our full website this morning, so we're pretty excited about that.
Cool. Good luck.
Yeah, pretty excited.
Nice. What's the website, Robert? Put it in the chat so we can all go to it. Get you some SEO juice. Nice. I can see you typing. Congrats, Robert. Great to hear. Hey, anybody, and welcome, William. Anybody have a win from over the holidays?
Not me, unfortunately.
Maybe everybody. Who is that? Kathy.
I do.
Yeah.
I had a smaller client that I introduced to a self-service product line, and he works very closely with a large mortgage bank. So we had a meeting on Wednesday of this week. He wants to go the whole full-blown business accelerator platform, do a new website, have me do everything. And I had an opportunity to speak to the operations director who runs 38 branches in the United States. He's got everything covered, but he's very willing to introduce me. So I kind of got off that phone call dancing. It was a great feeling. So that was my win. And of course, I listened to Thomas and his little shout outs to people, and I'm just so jazzed by him.
Awesome. Which Thomas? Am I missing something?
McMillan.
Thomas McMillan.
Fired Up Fridays.
Fired Up Fridays. You gave Kathy a shout out.
No, he didn't give me a shout out. He just was so sweet to me. I'm going to kiss him when I see him.
Awesome. Well, congratulations, Kathy. That's fantastic. And what I love about it is, the introduction, that referral is already there. Yeah, you're doing a great job making an impact. Hey, Thomas McMillan, you got a win for us?
I've got a couple things this week. So I just closed more workshop stuff with NFL players who are starting companies. Nice. And so that's cool. So that could lead to a lot of new business, and it's great because I get paid to teach. So that's good. And then I've got two local businesses this week that we're just tweaking the proposal. So it looks like things will be good, and that'll be my first foray into marketing services. I just became a growth subscriber, a growth partner this week or last week. So that's cool. And then what else happened this week? Oh, and the Aggies won the Orange Bowl.
Any football fans in the group?
Always.
Hey, Andrew.
Yeah, Mike. Hey, congrats, Thomas. Keep it up, and thanks for sharing. Yeah, Mike.
So my win over the holiday, and there's a learning experience here.
Yeah.
The company the website is Universal Healing Arts, and they do Reiki and other kinds of med spa type services, spiritual type services for their clients. So we're doing a new website for them. We're doing social media. The learning thing was, I probably was on the phone with the key person there 2 hours, 2 different calls, 3 calls. And by the final call, I had the owner of the company on, and they admitted that at one point the owner said to her partner, just forget about this guy, forget about it. Because I was supplying them with a lot of information, like the package, and then the pricing, and they got the packaging with all the, they could go to the store and click on all the things and see everything we're providing. But all she wanted was a line by line. So I went into my Square invoice tool, and I went into Square and I created the invoice, and I just broke it out line by line. So like 8 or 10 things with pricing next to it, coming up to the $1,200 a month, whatever it was. And that's what ended up bringing the woman back. She's like, all right, I'll give him another chance. He's given me what I want. I got on that call, and they admitted to me that they were just so frustrated with all of the information I was giving them. It was too much, too confusing. And they said the line by line with pricing, and the fact that I just didn't give up. They liked that I was straight with them, and I could talk and understand what they have been suffering through. And that closed the deal.
Nice. That's good. I feel like what I'm hearing is, meeting the client with, where they live,
Yeah.
meeting them with how they understand things, with how they like to see things, how they make decisions. I'm on the same wavelength, and that I am with, having the solution, presenting the solution, and then having that all in one price. I've found too often in the past, I don't know, everybody else, if you just start with line by line, it could be really easy to just, X this, X that, when we know the best way to build a hamburger. We know the best way that the hamburger tastes best. And there's reasons why we include all those things. But I feel like what I'm hearing is you met them where they live, and had the conversation with them the way that it makes sense to them.
Right.
I got some advice and also a win for everyone as well.
Yeah. Good share, Mike. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Congrats on the win.
Congrats, Mike.
Congrats, Mike.
Thank you.
So a couple of things. Well, for one, I'll go through the win first, and then I'll go through my advice for all the partners here today, based off of my experiences. So first and foremost, the win over the break for me was, there's this guy named David Meltzer. All right, and David is famous for building a $100 million sports marketing agency, losing it all, going bankrupt, and then building it back bigger the second time. So he's in the sports marketing field. David, I connected with him. My team reached out to him about a podcast, and he works with entrepreneur.com and stuff like that. But basically, for me, and I want to encourage you guys, because, I honestly, before reaching out, I thought that there was no way that I would be able to be a part of what he was doing. I just thought that I wasn't there yet. But my own team came to me and said, Ryan, you have no clue what you're capable of. You're in the nitty gritty every day, and you probably don't know or realize or recognize what you actually can do. Okay. So I said, what the heck? Go ahead, guys. Well, they reached out to him, and basically he was booked out for about 6 months on the podcast, because it's one of the top ranked podcasts. But basically he got us on live. and he put us on live, and he endorsed me for about 10 minutes. He said, Ryan, I love your companies, what you're doing, blah blah blah. And then from there, I told him about the book that I released, and then he brought me back on another live a couple of weeks later. So after that, that manifested into a relationship where we're working with Bloomberg and him on his new show with Bloomberg. And on the back end, we are there's 12 companies that are going to be the winners, and we're going to service all 12 of those companies. So I say that to say, you are more powerful than you think. You just got to do it. Nike said it best, guys. Just do it. That's it. That's all it is to it. Another thing is my advice. What I've realized in selling digital services is the sometimes we get so bombarded on there's as we know as marketers, there's 50 million things to do, right, that we can do for clients. But I want you guys to focus on one single system, one single program for those clients. And it's okay to have variations, but the core of that program should be one, and it'll make your jobs and what you're doing 10 times easier. All right. I used to piecemeal everything together, and I can say this: having to recreate something for every single company that we work with is almost insane. So, my advice, guys, is to think of simple is better. So one strategy to get new clients, make that successful, then move on to another strategy, one program, one system, and keep it going from there.
That's awesome, Ryan. We see that too, you can scale with packages and solutions so much faster, so much better than customizing everything all the time. You know what, Ryan, would you mind doing a little introduction for the team? Tell us a little bit about yourself, because you presented during a community session in the past.
Right.
And then also you've been on the Conquer Local podcast with George Leith. You want to tell us a little bit about who you are, other businesses that you're involved with that you started in the past, and so some recent lists maybe that you've been a part of.
Sure. So my name is Ryan Mason. I am originally from Birmingham, Alabama. I am located in Atlanta, Georgia now. But I started this long story, but I'll make it super short. My biggest dream was to go into the NFL and follow in my father's footsteps. So I wanted to, of course, most kids who are in sports, they wanted to go professionally, and that was what I was hell bent on doing. I was the guy that was giving, extra effort, staying extra hours all the time. And my dad told me one thing. He said, Ryan, all you got to do is perform. All That's it. Don't worry about any other distractions. Just perform. And I did just that. So I was fortunate enough to go on. But honestly, my as we know, life is not linear. So that kind of changed into something going into I see roll tide. That kind of changed going into college. About 3 years into college on a full scholarship, I decided that I had enough. I was unhappy. I didn't want to be seen as a failure. And I wanted to just pivot and do something that I could potentially be doing for the rest of my life. So I had this idea for luxury shoelaces. So I created a company called Lux Brand. And Lux Brand, we are the leading branded provider of luxury shoelaces in the US. And what these laces are, it's really cool. They're made from like Italian lambskin and other exotic leathers, but we were fortunate enough to bootstrap that business and landed on Good Morning America, the number one show in the country, NFL Network, Foot Locker stores, which that then led me to speaking to Adidas, speaking to just different big panels, and from there, the next thing this past year, Yahoo Finance and also Fox News named me as one of the top 10 entrepreneurs to watch and follow during COVID. So that really helped out a lot, and that's kind of where I come from and what I'm working to do.
That's awesome. Congrats, Ryan. So give Ryan a follow on LinkedIn. Check out Lux Brand. Ryan, I don't want to put you on the spot right now, but are you open to telling the community members how you're using Vendasta to help you scale with
Yeah.
BizBuzz Digital?
Sure. So For us, one of the big things is, when you're starting to grow a business, the process and systems are something that's extremely important. Okay, it's almost impossible to scale when you don't have the correct processes in place. So I believe in people, process, and platform. All right, so the right people use a proven process, and they use platforms to do it at scale. Okay. So for me, Vendasta has been a great partner in a sense that I am able to really focus on some of the things that I need to be focusing on, which is growing the business, talking to, building those relationships with people. And I can put my sole focus on building and selling, and also building a sales team, while Vendasta is taking care of some of the managed services like ads. So for us, Vendasta is a great fit for the scaling piece for us, because we're able to trust and get, also, like, for example, if there's a new product or any new changes that happen in the industry, a lot of times we're able to go to Vendasta and say, okay guys, let's have a meeting and let's figure out how can we help our clients adapt to these changes. Because you guys got to remember, you know without a big team, it's just you and your internal team. Sometimes you got to go and get outside advice and outside opinions. So Vendasta has been good for that as well.
Nice. That's awesome. Thanks for the share, Ryan.
Sure.
So I mean, that brings out the question here. I'd love to hear from everybody. Maybe we can find that handy dandy chat feature. And if everyone wouldn't mind just popping into the chat where you're calling in from and what the size of your team is. How many people are on your team? And I would also be curious to know if you're working with any VAs, if you're working with any virtual assistants, and how many virtual assistants you're working with. Yeah, great story, Ryan, from us in there. But that's awesome. Wow, Mitchell, team's growing, 8 VAs for the win. Mitchell, you're gonna have to tell us more sometime, but it's good to see you, Mitchell.
Hey,
Go ahead, Ryan.
really quick.
Yeah.
I gotta ask the recording.
Oh yeah. I'm just getting to the housekeeping item. So what's that?
Well, I was saying I gotta ask for the recording after the call.
Oh yeah, sure. Well, so for everybody who's joining here with us for the first time today, welcome to the community session. The reason we have these sessions is to provide a positive space for all of us to get together and have these open conversations, talking about different challenges, changes in the market, and how we can overcome them together. And so we do record all of these sessions, and then we post the recordings in the community afterwards. So for anybody who's joining us, I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to show everybody where you can find them. And then so here I am in the community. You can click on community sessions, and then it's gonna bring you to all of the discussions that we've had in the past. We've had some fantastic conversations. Ryan presented at one, Mitchell Slater presented at one. And then we like to try and have topics every week. So this meeting happens every week. Please add it to your calendar. And one thing to note, we've been doing this for about 40 weeks, I think. So there's multiple pages with many sessions. We've talked about multi-location. We've talked about quite a few things. So definitely check them out. To find the session, to find the recording, I guess I should say, this was a fun one. We did a holiday jam session to wrap up last year. You can click right into the thread and then you can find the recording here. So go ahead and check out the recordings and search through to see if there's anything that might interest you. So there's that, and we have a few really exciting promotions happening this year. I want to tell you a little bit about them before we go to our presenter today. But one thing, I wonder how many people have seen the Head Start 2021 promotion. You can check out right on our website, vendasta.com, Head Start 2021 promo, and this is an incredible collaboration between our team working with our vendors as well, who are just gung-ho on getting everybody started in 2021 here, focused around these three these three pillars. So what we learned from 2021 is, we need to be communicating. So we need to make sure that our clients are being heard, whether that's through social posting, through emailing, but even over communicating is really important at this point. Saying, hey, we're open today, come on by. Hey, we're open today, come on by. There's one business here in Saskatoon that I follow. They're constantly posting, I know that there's rumors going around that we've closed. That's not true. We're still open, but other businesses within our building, have moved out, or there is space for rent, but we're still open. That's very important to be saying. So pillar number one is being heard. Pillar number two is being seen, because we know that, consumer behavior, after somebody's been made aware of a pain point, an issue that maybe they should resolve, they're going to do they're probably going to do a general search, and are our clients getting found? So we need to make sure that they're being seen. And then also the transactional habits that folks have been developing during this time period. And I think that those habits are going to be long lasting. So I don't think it's just a habit that's being formed right now. I think it's a habit that's going to be lasting for some time. And the sooner that we can help businesses get prepared to transact online, we heard the fantastic story from Ryland's uncle, who has a comic book store here in Saskatoon. He got him set up online, using Website Pro, got the online store set up. And with a comic book store, there could be so many SKUs. And so just started simple. Let's get a few SKUs up there, the most popular ones. As people call in asking for other products, you can add them to your website. I'll help you understand how to do that. I want to share an update from that story, that they've done about, I think, $70,000 in online sales since starting sometime last year, whenever the pandemic happened, and it's become a super valuable part of their business. He said that I could share those numbers to keep the community updated. So thank you, Ryland, and super happy to hear about the success, helping out a local business during this time. And those habits are going to be formed, and they're going to stay around for a while. So when you get onto this page, I'm not going to say much about it. We're going to have a lot more information coming out, but we have some prizes. Thank you very much to all of the vendors who are participating. Check this out here. We have potential, get four-night getaway from ZenReach, Boostability, giving away some swag, Upswell, Google Ads for small businesses, products for small businesses, Shop to It and Sponsor, giving away some gift cards. And then as you scroll down some more, you'll be able to see the participating vendor and the offers here. So definitely check that out. And there's a place in the community that you can keep in tune with all of this. So this is going on, until March 31st. So check it out, connect with these vendors, strategize around it. I wanted to show you a group that was started as well. I would encourage everyone to join, and please, thank you for everyone's patience with this as well. We're still getting some things set up, getting some folks into the group, vendors and everything, to have these conversations. But if you go into Head Start 2021 and join the group, you're going to see the vendors in here, and this is going to be a great place to have these discussions. The way that we're trying to set it up is to have discussions directly in each one of the threads. So you'll see that we've got some of the vendors here already set up with their logos to make it easier to understand. And then, if you want to chat about the Google Ads robot, you can pop in here, and then you can start that discussion. So that's what to expect. That's what you can expect. That's something that we have going on. And the last thing I wanted to say is I know quite a few partners have been taking advantage of the recommended campaigns that our team writes. And we're coming out with a growth and expansion campaign 3.1. That it's a fantastic campaign, email campaign that's designed to, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. It's designed to align communication and provide a script and different resources so that you can you can have an email campaign going out to prospects, and it's really educational, and it's really to nudge them to take the next step, to make a social post, through the business app. It's not salesy or really pushy, sales pushy at all. So it's great for prospects, just for that education factor, that nudge. And then it's also great for current clients to keep your business and your brand top of mind, because just like we said, we want to be always communicating with our current clients and with our prospects about certain things and valuable things that they can be doing, talking about National Coffee Day or something like that. So we're just finalizing that. And whenever that's ready, hopefully we can have another conversation on that next week, but reach out to your Vendasta rep and ask them about the always on, growth and expansion campaign 3.1. Very close to having that ready, and looking forward to, to getting that launch for some partner, or for you guys. So our team can definitely help out with that. And that kind of, segues into the gentleman that I would like to introduce here today, Dan McLean, our Director of Content. Dan, are you there?
Yeah, I sure am.
Awesome. Hey, and welcome.
Thank you.
So Dan has graciously offered to join us today, and Dan had a big part in writing some video scripts for us, and he's just so experienced with everything content, and I'm really excited whenever we were preparing for this meeting, hearing what insights Dan was going to share with the community, because I think I'm going to learn a lot from this session, Dan. So I'm really looking forward to it. But without taking up any more time, let's get right into it. If you wouldn't mind just doing a brief introduction for the community here, who you are, your experience, your position here at Vendasta, and then you can get right into your presentation or your discussion for the group here.
Sure, that's great. Thanks a lot, Andrew. So yeah, I'm Dan, and oh my gosh, my experience. I've been around for a while. I actually started my professional life as a journalist. So I wrote for newspapers, and most of my time as a journalist was spent in tech. So I wrote for a lot of tech magazines, brands like Computer World, Info World, Network World. And then I spent some time in market research as well. I worked for a company called International Data Corporation for about 7 years, and cut my teeth there for a while. And then lo and behold, the year 2000 came, and that was certainly one part of the world changing in a big way if you were in publishing. So as we have all seen since, the world went digital. So did I. I started working with media companies in terms of helping them make that transition to online, helping them create online content, build communities. I then went into a corporate gig. I worked for a company called Cisco Systems, which is a big, large networking company. And I worked for the CEO of that company in Canada, and was his speechwriter, was his executive communication guy. Did a lot of traveling with him. We went across Canada mostly, setting up a kind of a platform for him to speak to our customers and to the community at large. So we worked very closely together in developing his communication over a period of about 9 years. I worked with him. Then I started getting much more deeply into marketing and marketing communications. And I've since worked for 3 companies building content marketing organizations. So I'm here now at Vendasta. Started with them about, I think it's coming on to 5 months ago, building the content team here, building a strategy. And it's been a lot of fun, very cool company, as hopefully most of you know. And so what I wanted to share today, I was sort of racking my brain. I thought, well, what could I share with all of you in terms of creating content that could be relatively simple and at the same time have high value for you? So I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to reveal what I'm going to share here. I thought what I might share is, let's talk about sales outreach. And let me just reduce this mirror there. So this, I think, you know, I'm hopeful that this is a topic that's really important to all of you, and perhaps you're all doing it right now. I've done it a bunch of times with a bunch of different companies that I've worked for, and have learned some methodologies and best practices, and I wanted to share that with you. But just to sort of set the stage for the conversation, I pulled some quick stats on the importance of sales outreach and touch points with customers. So you see them there, that that follow-up is so important on a lead. You know, once you've got a lead, the key to it is acting, and acting quickly. And that's really what sales outreach is about from an inbound perspective. And that's really how I'm looking at this. It's a combination of inbound and outbound, but I'll get into the details of that. You know, the number of touch points in terms of your sales leads, the more you have, the greater your chances of a successful sale. And I pulled some stats from IDC that you can read it there, that, you know, on a second touch, 3% of your prospects will sign up. By a third try, it goes up to 5%. And, you know, on the fifth touch point and the 12th contact, it can rise as high as 80%. So it's really important to have an outreach strategy in your inbound marketing plan. So what I'd like to share here is something that we call a sequence in outreach, and it involves a number of steps that you might undertake as you're building a sort of an email campaign. And so you see how it works here. These are the elements of it. You know, you've got an initial email, voicemail combination. You've got a second email that's really a kind of a follow-up to the first. And it all sort of culminates in sort of this breakup email, if you will, if things aren't sort of going, if you're not hearing back from folks. There's some LinkedIn outreach that's involved as well. Certainly video is something that is really powerful if you can use in a sales outreach. And in fact, in the Head Start plan, we've created some videos and some video scripts for you. So hopefully that's going to be really useful. And, you know, an outreach sequence can you know, typically go from about 5 to 15 steps. And it really does depend on sort of the nature of the customer that you're reaching out to. So let me share with you a sort of a sequence example. And this is a sequence that runs over the course of about 2 weeks. And so what I'm proposing here is that on day one, you might do a voicemail or a voice call with a prospect. And you start with an email. And in the voicemail, really what you're doing is you're just letting your prospect know that you've sent them a message and you want them to check it out. You know, you hit them with a proposition around why now, in terms of why you're reaching out to them today. And really the point of all of this is to set up a longer conversation, if you will. You know, on the second day, what I'm showing here is this sort of slip by you email. And the idea here is really just an email that's a forwarding of the first one that you sent on the day two, really with a note at the top that says, you know, you want to make sure that you know, your recipient got that original email and that it didn't get missed. On day 4, you might do something with LinkedIn. You know, I don't know if any of you utilize something called LinkedIn Connect email. It's a really cool and powerful application. I mean, most of our customers and prospects are on LinkedIn, so it's a great way of connecting with them. You're really just sending them a kind of a short personalized message with a quick introduction of yourself and alluding back to that first email that you sent. Now, the thing I haven't discussed here is you see at the top of these things, it says pain point 1, 2, and 3. And as you build a sequence of emails, really what you want to focus on in terms of your central message in the email is a pain point or a challenge that's specific to the customer or the prospect that you're reaching out to. And the idea of going from one pain point in the first email to a second pain point in the next email is that, hey, look, if I didn't respond to the first email, perhaps I really didn't hit on the right topic that was important to me specifically. So you follow up again with those that perhaps didn't respond with a second email that connects to another type of challenge or potential pain that that customer or that prospect might have. And I'll show you some examples of this as we go further down in this. So this kind of day 4 or day 5 touch point is really a follow-up email positioning a different pain point or opportunity, focusing on another value proposition that you can provide through your company. So then we give it a couple of days to kind of ferment, see what activity happens. And then we get to day 8. And this is where we might send out a third email. Again, it's positioning another pain point, another value, and you're trying to land on something that connects with what is particularly important to that prospect or to that customer. On day 9, you know, it's a follow-up with a voice call. You know, don't leave another email. Try and connect with them on a voice call to, you know, engage in that kind of conversation, if you will. And then on day 10 is sort of where you might kind of, you know, resign yourself somewhat that perhaps the prospect you're reaching out to isn't ready to have that conversation yet. So it's really an email that says, you know, you're still interested in trying to get a hold of them, interested in that conversation, but now might not be the right time. But hey, let's connect when you're ready to make that connection. So in terms of writing the emails, here's a methodology. It's a pretty simple, sort of methodology that I would suggest to you. It contains 3 elements. It's the why you, the why now, and why us approach of writing an email. So as you can see there, you know, why you really starts with the customer first. And in communication with customers and prospects, you want to make it about them. It's not about you introducing your company and saying how great you are, but it's you speaking to your customer from their perspective, you know, making it about them. You start by talking about, you know, the reason why you're reaching out today, you know, and it could be, you know, a customer that you're doing business with, or it's a prospect that you're reaching out to that aligns to that kind of ideal customer profile that you're after. The why now is really positioning the value. It's where you talk about those specific challenges or pain points that you believe the customer or prospect may be having. And what's that competitive advantage or that value that you can position to help them fix or correct that challenge or capture that opportunity. And then the why us is really your value proposition. It's saying, you know, here's what validates us as being a company that you should be working with because, you know, we can help you. And you're essentially asking for a meeting. Okay, so let's go into some samples here. And what I'm showing you here is something that I created in a previous campaign in a previous life. This was with a known prospect. And it might be an example of an email that you can craft. Now, again, this is specific to this. This was Hilton Corporation that we were trying to do business with. And what I had done was I'd gone in and basically read an annual report and gotten an idea of what it was that they were working on in the coming year. So, you know, their focus was to offer higher levels of personalized interactions with customers. So, you know, they had, you know, you do some search online, you can see that they reached 100 million member milestone with their honors program, and they were looking to open more luxury properties in 2019. And our position was, you know, to offer them a means of personalization with their interactions. So again, the why now positions, you know, our understanding of delivering highly personalized experiences being important to them through their applications and websites and all their outreach to their customers. And so our value proposition in the Why Us was really to say, you know, we want to schedule this brief call to give them some details about how we can help them leverage the strategy in their industry. And so again, we're trying to relate to some of their challenges, some of the opportunities that they're trying to capture, and then position our expertise and how it is that we can help them. And really just, you know, scheduling a quick call. So it's something really short, really simple, really straightforward, and it's based on this very simple formula of why now, why you, why now, why us. So an email too, it's a quick follow up. So, you know, it's following up. Can I send you a few dates to determine if there's an opportunity for us to talk? You know, our understanding is that you currently use a CRM and customer preferences to personalize guest experiences. And again, we're trying to validate our experience around, you know, helping in the why now. It's our expertise lies in this kind of personalized, engaging interactions with customers. In the Why Us, we used our validation through Gartner at the time, which is a pretty large market research companies, a company that a lot of customers at the time listened to and received reports about. So again, it was trying to position our credibility with them, and again, asking to schedule that quick call. So again, this was a highly personalized sort of campaign. What I also did was I thought, well, okay, so maybe you want to do something more generic. And I did this from the perspective of Vendasta, for example. This might be an outreach that you might receive from us. You know, I'm reaching out to see if there's an opportunity for our two organizations to work together, specifically on continuing to help your customers achieve e-commerce success in the midst of pandemic lockdowns and shuttered storefronts. I pulled a stat here around, you know, how e-commerce sales are growing incredibly, and you know, the importance of e-commerce in terms of how it's advancing in the market is really accelerating at a point that you know, we hadn't seen before. 10 years of accelerated e-commerce adoption in the last few months of 2020. And the urgency is in the third paragraph. You know, it's important to get some sense of urgency around why it's important to do something today, why it's important to act right now. And then in the Why Us, it's you know, really to say, you know, we want to show you how we're helping businesses like yours drive success. And again, asking for that 10 minutes in your schedule. We go to the second email sample. Again, it's positioning a bit of a different message, you know, in terms of that why now area, the shifting tide in the battle. And in the third paragraph, I've positioned a different value proposition here. The importance of personalization, the importance of knowing your audience, and, you know, tagging in with a bit of research there that validates that assertion. And then I position a case study. So saying, you know, in the Why Us, how we worked with a company to develop a highly successful e-commerce experience, you know, that's improved their customer retention and helped them realize some pretty important and impressive growth. Again, asking to schedule a quick call with them. That's the sequence two. Now you could do a third sequence here. I haven't provided that, but it's, you know, I would position a third sequence email that focuses on a different value proposition in the Why Us and a different why now message in terms of urgency that we might want to share with that customer. Now, the breakup email is sort of the last stage, and it looks like something like this. It's this simple. It's really just you saying that you'd like to assist and you know, help out if you can. In the second paragraph, it's to position again the value of your company and your expertise. I've again referenced a testimonial by one of our customers, and just made the point that, you know, we can help you succeed as we did with other customers. But the last paragraph really saying, you know, hey, we recognize you're probably not ready now, but when you are, let's connect. And likewise, please feel free just to reach out if I can help. So that's kind of how the sequence works. It's a fairly straightforward type of formula, and I hope I've explained it clearly. Now, I did want to sort of touch on subject lines too. So there's two elements in any email. There's the open rate and the click-through, and open rates are entirely dependent on the subject line that you have in your email. And you really want to be thoughtful and purposeful about that. Whatever you do in terms of sending an email, if it doesn't have the right subject line, you've really wasted your effort. So I wanted to share with you some tips about things that worked and stuff that doesn't work. Short and clear is always good, and that applies to any sort of writing. You know, a subject line that has some sort of an offer or conveys some sense of urgency to act now is really important as well. Numbers within a subject line work really well. Posing questions is a great thing to do as well. So personalization is good. Perhaps you can use someone's first name in your email, or use words like you and your in your messaging, and offering up insights. So you might want to reference some statistic within the subject line in your email. What doesn't work is the disconnect between what you say in your subject line and what's actually in the email that you're sending. You know, you might get the open rate that you're looking for, but you definitely won't get the click-through if there's that sort of disconnect. Generic titles don't work. Something that has a sort of a passive statement is really not going to get an open. Words with longer than 8 characters. Now that's just sort of simply a best practice. And what it says is it's really aligning with the short and clear message in what works. So it's not a never, never, but it's you know, it's a best practice if you can avoid longer words. Spammy words as well. You want to stay from those. Never put free in a subject line because it's likely to end up in somebody's spam filter. They'll never get the email that you sent. And symbols are things that also don't work, so avoid them. I found a tool online that I've been using for a little while. It's called subjectline.com, and it's a great way to test out your subject lines. You just go to that link, you punch it in, and you'll get a scoring out of 100. Basically, you punch in your subject line, it scores it out of 100, and it gives you advice on what you need to do to fix it to improve the score. So it's a great little tool that you should definitely check out. And just to end it all off here, just with some final thoughts, you know, I've said all this, keep it simple. You know, your goal with any email is to keep it short, keep it concise, keep it focused. You want to grab their attention and have a really powerful, strong call to action. Give it a look yourself. I would strongly suggest that you do your email, then send it to yourself to get a sense of what it's going to look like, especially on a mobile device. So check it out on your smartphone just to see what it looks like. Again, that subject line focus is really important. I can't understate that. And it's recognizing too that most people are using mobile devices. I mean, the stats right now are amazing in terms of people that use you know, their smartphones to not just read emails, but read content in general. So you really have to think about optimizing your content and your messaging to look really great on those sorts of devices. So that's all I've got, and happy to answer any questions if you've got any.
Dan, thank you so much for that presentation. It's good to see the science and the ideas and the thought behind it. And before I go to partners for any discussion, I just want to say, Dan, I'm so grateful to have you on our team.
Thank you. Thanks.
So I saw a couple of questions and comments. Kathy Poterni, I'd love to hear from you. You said, you know, this is game changing. I'm wondering if you'd be able to elaborate on that. What did you take away from what Dan spoke about that was so game changing?
I think the first thing is just the simplicity of the templates, and I'm going to call them templates for lack of a better word. I like the layout of the, what was it, 14 days or so forth. and mixing the connections. One of the things I've written for a really long time. I don't have a problem putting 4 sentences together, but it's the sentences and the accounting and the billing and the sales and the marketing and the letting out the dog and making dinner and, all of those things in a 24-hour, you can't get done. And since it's me running the show with just a few people behind me, I'm still the one making the decisions. This shows me that there's a way of doing things that I can marry to what I'm already doing. My only question was, and Dan answered it, he's taking the specifics of that prospect and tying back what he thinks a pain point is. So that's a little bit of research, but it doesn't sound like it's an unattainable goal to start sending out these emails.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not at all, Kathy. And again, just doing a Google search on any prospect that you're doing, a lot of times you'll find, something that they may have done that is newsworthy that you can reference, or simply just going to their site and getting a sense of kind of what their strategy is, what what they've been sort of talking about, and maybe some of the blogs that they've posted. Maybe, depending on the kind of company that you're dealing with, maybe they've done some news releases or things like that. I know most of you are probably dealing with smaller businesses. So just to check out, even, read some of the bios of the folks that are in the company to get a sense of, what their passion is, what they're interested in, what's on their minds.
Great, thank you.
I like that idea, newsworthy, timely information. One thing that Dan and I were talking about whenever preparing for this session was, cutting through the noise. We talk about it, business app can help reduce vendor clutter. Those are the technical terms we use over here, but I'll tell you what, I think everybody has inbox clutter. And if you see, the importance of that subject line and wanting to read more, it can be so powerful. I want to go to Ingrid Owens. I saw you raise your hand there. Would love to get your comments or your question in.
Actually, that was an error. I didn't. But hello and happy New Year! And I thought it was just a wonderful presentation. So, my apologies.
Awesome. Hey, no worries. Do you have a question at all for Dan?
Actually, it was all very well put together, and I took good notes and already am developing a strategy. So I have no questions. And it was excellent information.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Ingrid.
Thank
And
you.
Dan, speaking of, Ingrid taking notes, are we going to be able to share the slides in community afterwards?
Absolutely. Yep. Happy to share
Nice.
them. Yeah, somebody actually raised a question about video and emails, which I think is really, I did want to address that. I think it's really powerful to embed a video in an email. And I know that I'd actually been working on some video scripts for this campaign. I don't know whether it's worthwhile showing them or whether you even, Andrew, had a chance to do a video based on one of those scripts. But
Please
I'm happy to share one if that makes sense.
Hey, it's your guys' session. You want to
show
see
it,
one?
Show it. Show it.
Okay, cool. Let me do that. So this was just a really short and sweet kind of video script. I created 3 of them. But here's the first one, and it's really just based on, what you see here. And it's something that, hey, just get in front of your computer and maybe just even dictate this sort of message, talking about how well do you know your customers? Well, you work with them often. Do you have actual insights based on social listening, regular online engagement? You can see it all there. We've given them some research, like stats are always great to cite. This is the kicker here, right? It's really just saying, hey, look, hopefully I've piqued your interest in all of these different topics. Let's talk, let's get together. This gives people, you're giving them value. You're looking to give them value. You're creating urgency. And I think that's always important in a video script. Start with a message of urgency. You want to say to them, hey, I have something really important to tell you, and you need to know about it. And then you segue into, questions like this. Do you need help? Is this something that might be relevant to you? And then the kicker is basically you saying, hey, I can help you. There's things that we can do together. Let's have a conversation. So that was one of the video scripts. I know we're sort of short on time, so I won't share the others, but happy to throw this into the kit bag of the slide presentation as well, if it's valuable.
If we could have 52 scripts, that would be perfect.
Hey, only if you follow up with them, Ryan. Remember, we don't just binge watch. We want to binge do. We need to take action.
Right.
We don't want to be collecting all these things. We got to take action. And Wendy, I love your, or sorry, not Wendy, Kathy. I love your challenge to the partners. Kathy says, let's do a contest just between us partners, check each other out and critique, encourage and support. What do you guys say? Who wants to take part in the contest? Record some videos, send out some emails.
Thomas,
What were you
seriously,
thinking
if
there,
you're not going
Kathy?
to raise your hand, Thomas McMillan, I'm going to be very upset with
Oh,
you.
you know, I'll do whatever.
And Kathy White, come on, Kath, you can do this.
Yeah. All right. So how about this? Like we're going to be doing this always on, growth and expansion campaign. It's going to include video scripts. We're going to have a schedule for like social posts, those kinds of things. And then let's share those links just like we did during the Dennis Yu think tank sessions. We talked a lot about video and sharing those links, and we have the Conquer Local community session groups. Would it make sense to share a LinkedIn links in there to our videos, and then we can get that going? What do you guys say? Who's in? Type yes in the chat if you're in, and then I'm gonna hold you guys accountable. Let's have some fun with it.
Wow.
Right on. So whenever we have all that ready, we'll get it out to everybody, and let's start having some fun. Beauty. I have a question that I want to ask the group. I asked it in the chat, but I would love to hear from folks on the call now. For those who need to jump, that's okay. But I want to hear from folks on the call right now. What is your communication strategy like? What is your follow-up like? On Dan's first slide, I don't know if you can pull it up again, Dan. But it just speaks to the touch points. 3% conversion on the second touch point, 5% on the third, but from the 5th to 12th contact, and then with Dan's sequence of phone calls and videos, what is everybody's follow-up and outreach like? Are you taking this many steps? What is everyone doing? I would love to hear from folks on the call right now. Just go ahead and unmute yourself if you'd like to say something.
I'll jump in.
Sure.
Yeah, sure. So, yeah, we keep it. And I work with Andrew a lot, so I keep it pretty simple. And I think that for us, I don't know, we don't really get to that 12th touch point in the prospecting side that often. We close a lot sooner than that, probably in the first couple of touches, and then grow it from there. So yeah, I'd be interested if people are, I guess maybe the package size might be a lot bigger when you're getting into that 12 touches and things like that to close a package. I'd be interested to hear from somebody else who's maybe doing a lot bigger package and is getting to that depth. Because for us, it's a little simpler, and we probably 1 call close, 2 call close 80% of the time.
Yeah, Jeff, you're a beast. But yeah, what is everybody else doing? That's a good question.
Yeah, I've been pretty much given up after the 4th call. So I'm going to change my strategy completely. I'm going to go for at least 12 calls now, or some time, 12 communications. I never thought that. I figure after 4 or 5 times, people don't want to hear from me again. But this is good information.
That's the breakup call, though, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And you can get fun with those breakup emails. You have some fun with it too. That's where you can have some fun and you can really re-engage, show some humor, show some character too.
Can I just say a word about humor? Because I talk about this a lot with my staff. And humor is this great thing, but it's extremely subjective. So what is funny to some is very unfunny to others. And we're just living in this day and age where there's a great deal more sensitivity to what you say. So I would caution people around humor. I mean, I think it's great if you're dealing with folks that you know, but I would say tread carefully. And what I say to my writers is, if they're going to be funny, they better be funny. You know. So
Yeah.
just a note of caution there. The other thing I was going to say to you, William, is, you know, I would really suggest that sequence of 3 emails with a breakup. And if in each of the emails you can focus on a different pain point every single time and a value proposition that you have, that way, what you're doing basically is, if I'm a customer, you've sent me one email and I've said, you know what you're sort of talking about here doesn't matter to me. You try something else in your second email. That might be the trigger for me. That might be the one that gets me to say, yeah, that's exactly what I'm dealing with. And maybe by the third, you know, it may take a third email. So I would suggest a sequence of 3, positioning different pain, different value, and then that breakup email that sort of allows you to sort of exit graciously to say, hey, look, I know you're not ready, but I'm here when you need me. And just, you know, it's just a matter of reaching out.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Dan, quick question on that. So we're talking about their 3 emails and a breakup one at the end, but we're also saying that it's not just those 3 or 4 touch points. There's other touch points as well. There's
exactly
reaching out
right.
on LinkedIn, there's reaching out by text. So actually there's quite a few touch points along the way. So it might actually be 8 or 10.
Exactly right, Stephen. It's just from the writing the email standpoint, that's my recommendation. Go with those 3 emails and a breakup. But yeah, do the follow-up on the phone. You know, do that second email that's immediately after the first.
Yeah.
That basically is just you copying that email and saying, hey, just want to make sure this didn't land in your spam folder or that you missed it.
Yeah.
I'd really look at that sequence map that I laid out. I think it's a good framework. It's a good basic framework to follow on an outreach sequence program. But you're right. All of those steps are important. The phone calls are essential. The LinkedIn is a great option. A lot of people, a lot of business folks live there. So it's a good place to reach out.
Hey, I got a quick note for you, Andrew, and also you, Dan. It would be amazing if Vendasta had an offering for script or email writing. I don't know if that's possible. That's one thing that I've always struggled with because there's so many emails, there's so many different follow-up processes. When you really get down to it, you got to you got a follow-up process for the initial sales outreach if you are doing cold outreach, but you also got an initial follow-up for meetings that didn't, show up. So you also have a follow-up sequence for, people who have went through the entire sales process. And now you've pitched them, and now you got to follow up to close the deal. So there's a ton of emails, is what I'm basically saying. What we do though, there's about nine touch points, and I'm talking about one that we just recently worked on. There's 9 touch points, but this is after we've pitched them. All right, so about 60% may close, but this is after you pitch them, and what we do is we reiterate, like, there's a couple of things that we do. We send something in the mail. We're going to start sending our book in the mail immediately to people who have already went through the strategy session. We're going to send our credibility and the brands that I've worked with. We're going to send the process. We're going to send testimonials. We're going to send my LinkedIn testimonials. We're going to, and so all of this is structured, and we do about 3 calls in between those 2 weeks and 9 emails. Or not 9 emails, but 9 follow-ups. So there's about, I think, 5 emails maybe, or 5 emails and maybe 3 calls or something like that. And maybe there's 6 emails actually. But that's kind of what we do, is multiple touch points. And just a quick note, we definitely would love to get some emails written.
Yeah, that's a great idea, Ryan. I love the idea of building some templates. You've got me thinking now that maybe where I should spend some time is building some email templates, for engagement, for outreach, for follow-up, for campaigns, like if you're trying to drive a marketing campaign, there are emails that we can create to do that. So maybe it's just in building some templates, frameworks that can help you sort of use those things and fill them out easily, and just always follow the same format in each one. So
I agree. There's one thing that I've noticed though with all the bigger brands. I mean, it may not be a company with 100 employees, but the brands who you hear all the time, one thing for sure, when you sign up for any of their services, their packages, their free offerings, anything like that, you are going to be bombarded with email. And it works. I mean, you're top of mind. They're gonna grab your attention one way or another. They're gonna grab it enough for you to either block them or for you to fall to give in. And most of the time, they know your pain point, so you do give in.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, and our content team does offer copywriting services. So you can check those out in the marketplace. And I think that there is also some offerings with Constant Contact where they can help with email management. But that's a great suggestion, Ryan. It sounds like you got Dan thinking there. So we'll follow up on that.
Yeah, Dan, I'll buy templates when you get them done.
That might be a good blog post, Dan. There was so much that we were considering talking about today because Dan has so much experience and he works with our entire content team, doing these emails, blog posts and all of that. So maybe Dan, it sounds like everyone's asking for an encore maybe at some point. But today was a great call. Thanks, Thomas. Dan, if you have a few more minutes, is it okay if we continue with the Q&A?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome. I wanted to just do a quick mention. I want to get to some more discussion. But another thing that I think about when mixing up email, phone call, LinkedIn, it's not just about the different types of outreach, and reaching out, but also thinking about it from the customer's perspective. How do they prefer to communicate? They may prefer to communicate over the phone versus email. They may prefer to communicate on LinkedIn versus phone or texting or email. So it's a lot about, just like we talked about earlier, meeting your client where is convenient for them and where is most comfortable for them. So considering their perspective, just wanted to comment there. I saw a few others unmute themselves. Would love to get in maybe one or two more questions for discussion. But if we've covered quite a bit already, that's okay too. I think we all have some, Kathy, so energized. I think we all have some ideas, and it's going to be great to Dan, thank you for putting together the presentation and for sharing it with the community afterwards. So I know that they're going to be used. All right. Well, with that, thank you everybody for joining on our first session this year. Thomas McMillan taking so many notes. But yeah, thank you everybody for joining the session this year, first session. Thank you, Dan, for joining us, for preparing your presentation. Really appreciate that, very thoughtful. And Dan, we're gonna get you on again for another session so that we can talk about more and different types of content creation. So thank you very much, Dan.
You bet, thank you.
Andrew, how do I get invited back every week?
Oh yeah, you know what? I'm gonna do a quick screen share here, and for folks who
it's a vote. We got to vote.
Who said that? I didn't see that. Jim, what do you think? Should we? I mean, put yes in the chat if you think we should tell William about the secret link so that he can join every week. Or okay, Diane, we got one yes. Okay, that's good. Oh, there's the yeses. Yeah. Okay. Oh, I move this. Okay, so you should be able to see the groups page here on Conquer Local Academy.
Yep.
All right. If well, there's a few ways to get to it, but if you click on the community header, you'll see this gray bar here, community
Gotcha.
sessions. Yeah.
Okay.
And then whenever we click on there, right at the top one that we have pinned here, Conquer Local Community Sessions registration. Quick little blurb about what it is, and you can register here using this link.
Okay.
And then, you know, we've gone through this. There in your confirmation message, there's going to be a slew of dates. We just kind of set that, you know, so that we can continue these sessions. So you might need to scroll down a little bit to find the appropriate calendar link to save it to your Google Calendar or your iCalendar or Office 365, just as a note. And then it should, you know, save into your calendar, and it's the same link for all of the near future sessions there, William.
Cool. I just learned something. But thank
Well,
you.
it's good, and I appreciate you asking the question.
Yeah, I like to learn.
Yeah, we can clarify that. Well, anyways, everybody, thank you very much. You know, my name's Andrew Carson. I'm a growth team lead over here, working with our team to help our partners be successful. So very much big thank you to you for joining us, and we'll see you next week, and we'll catch you in the community.